Hey, what's up guys, Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of the Lizzie Borden Chronicles. And if you guys remember a while back, I did my review of the movie from Lifetime, which led into the series, Lizzie Borden Took an Axe. And so I finally got around to finishing the 8-part series they did, of course, detailing the aftermath of the initial trial of Lizzie Borden depicted in the movie. And of course, as the movie was, the series, it's very much mostly fictional, or at least how the events that take place are of their own creation. It's not meant to be 100% historically accurate or anything. And one critic review described it as sort of served with a wink at the audience. You're not supposed to always take it 100% seriously. But at the same time, there is some seriously good content in this. I actually own it. I was confident enough that I would enjoy the series. I bought it really ahead of watching it quite a while ago now. Pretty cool cover, by the way. And I have to say, I was really, really impressed by the show. I did like the movie. I thought it was pretty decent all around, with pretty good central performance by Christina Ricci. I don't know if you pronounce her name Christina Ricci or Christina Ricci or something like that. I don't know, but I'm just terrible with names, and pardon my messy hair and weird little mess around that area. But anyway, she just continues to nail the role, and we'll talk a little bit more about her in a few minutes. It's kind of stupid that I'm doing this video right now, because I have to be up at 6 in the morning to be into work by 7. Ugh. But I just really wanted to get this review out, because I was planning on doing it a couple days ago, but I fell behind because of my work schedule has been kind of muddled lately. But anyway, I was really impressed by the series. Like I said, I thought the movie was decent enough. I did like it. I still need to buy it though. But I have to say, my expectations for the series were, surpassed. They went above what I was expecting for it, and I just really, really enjoyed it. I think every episode it got better and better. And I'll honestly say I loved certain parts of it as well. Of course, Christina Ricci continues to be great as Lizzie Borden. There are other actresses who could, be in the role and they'd probably be fine, But Christina Ricci, she brings a certain, brilliance, or, showing Lizzie's intellect, yet, cruelness, but yet her charm. And despite her nature as a character or as a person in history, she still manages to keep her really likable, and we root for her all the way through, despite her deeds. So I think that's really something to marvel at, and she really does have some great acting performances as well, and I can't really see anyone having me enjoy them in the role more than Christina did in the movie and in the series. So she's very good, and then the rest of the cast is fine too. You had Clea DuVall, as her sister Emma. And my very few criticism of the show is something to do with her character at the beginning. But Clea DuVall, she appears to be a good actress, and she does fine in the show as well. In fact, she gets some pretty interesting development towards the end of the series. And then you had other characters from history in it, like Charlie Siringo. He's part of this Pinkerton agency looking into Lizzie. And I thought his character was actually pretty interesting. The actor playing him did a pretty good job. You also had Jonathan Banks as Mr. Flowers. He was this, sort of crime boss. Or this ring of prostitutes, basically. But he's also involved in more general criminal activity and stuff as well. I wish we had seen more of him in it though, because Jonathan Banks is a very good actor. Most of us know him for his role in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul as Mike. Very good actor, and it's cool to see him on this. And you even had Michelle Fairley, who played Catelyn Stark on Game of Thrones, in this as well for the last episode or so. And I really enjoyed her role in this, as the mother of the Trotwood family. I knew I'm not going to be able to go as in depth as I probably should with this, because like I said, I should be asleep right now. But I was just really excited to talk about it. And going back to what I mentioned earlier, like one of the very few issues I had with the show at the beginning anyway was, like where we see Lizzie and Emma start off. Because of course the movie ended with Lizzie basically telling Emma what she did, in a very twisted way, whispering into her ear, if you guys remember that and stuff. And then Emma leaves, and then, the text at the end of the movie, it says, they never seen each other again, So I thought it was a little bit weird that they were just together right at the start of this show. I feel like they should have had more of an explanation for it. I mean, throughout the series, you have this feeling that Emma is, definitely aware of how Lizzie is. She's just not really wanting to go into it. She's not really wanting to, get involved with it and such. But, she still does have a care for her sister. But I still feel like, I don't know, like the first episode should have at least been about Emma coming back and why and stuff like that. I think they could have, shown that a little bit better, given us something to go on. I get why they brought Emma back. They wanted that sister dynamic for it, so it's understandable. But I feel like they should have spent a little more time with how and why and such. But once the show got going, it overshadowed it. Okay, she's there, and now all this crazy shit happens. Something else I was really impressed by was the pacing of the show. It had a much faster and tighter pace than I expected. How many times do I say but yeah, the pacing was really fast, but yet not completely rushed. Although you could argue that the last couple episodes felt a little bit rushed. But throughout the other episodes, there's stuff that goes down a lot sooner than you'd expect. There's character deaths, there's confrontations that you don't expect so soon to happen, but they do. So I was really pleased by that. It kept a really smoother flow than I actually expected. So you have Lizzie, she's being investigated by the Pinkerton agent, Siringo. Then, like I say, you also have the, Jonathan Banks character, Mr. Flowers. And then she also has this little feud with this neighbor lady. They end up moving out of the Borden house, and, she names their new house Maplecroft. And the lady who lives next to him, she's very firm, very proper, and sort of, very strict. And she just does not like Lizzie whatsoever. And, of course, the whole town is still, suspicious of her. You even have, kids, reciting and chanting the Lizzie Borden rhyme when they're, jumping rope and such. Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When her father saw what she had done, I forget the exact rhyme. I'm embarrassing myself. Excuse me while I look it up real quick. I should really know this. Yeah, Lizzie Borden took an axe, she gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. But, yeah. Okay, what was I talking about? The pacing. Yeah, I really like the pacing on it, and you have the Pinkerton agent looking into where you have Mr. Flowers stuff. And then he also, of course, had some sort of loose ends from the movie. He still had Lizzie and Emma sort of dealing with some of the legal ramifications of what happened following the initial trial in the movie, which is fine. And then even had a love interest for Emma. She follows her this police officer, Mr. Trotwood. But he ends up being wrapped up in some of Lizzie's business and actually being, killed, within the first couple episodes where he becomes prominent. Yeah, the show's just really good. It has this nice cinematography to it. Some really nice shots going on. Of course, you had the outfits and the costumes and such. They're nice. There's just a lot to say about the show in so little time. And then he also we met the brother Borden, William Borden, who I actually liked quite a bit. He was only in an episode or two, unfortunately, and I feel like that dynamic could have been explored a little bit more. But I liked William Borden, sort of the dynamic he brought to the show. He was a fun, violent character, and of course Lizzie ends up roping him in and getting rid of him as she sees fit. And there's also, I forget the actor's name, but he played Danny in the U.S. version of Being Human. Sally's fiance to be in that show. He plays this photographer towards the end of the season, who's trying to bring awareness back to Lizzie and such. It's kind of funny to see him. Excuse me. And how it ends up, they end up actually leaving the main town, that was taking place in, since the beginning of the movie, and they end up, I think they went to Boston, and that's where we meet Michelle Fairley's character, Mrs. Trotwood. Emma ends up going there to sort of seek shelter, as well as like sort of this love and contentment from the Trotwood family after their son and their brother is killed. Of course, he is going to be Emma's husband, and Emma also went through an interesting process at this mental institution. And of course, the doctor there ends up, one that actually molests some of the women that were, patients there, and Emma actually ends up, sort of like locking them in with these inmates, and they pretty much tear them apart, which is pretty awesome. And the guy who played the doctor was also a pretty hateful and dislikable character in Penny Dreadful, which is kind of a good little tie-in for it. So Emma was actually a little more interesting than I expected her to be. And Mrs. Trotwood, played by Michelle Fairley, she does a good job as well. Her and Lizzie sort of, butt heads, and I like the dynamic between the two of them, despite how short-lived it was. And Lizzie sort of takes this new alias, Mrs. Grimkey. She dyes her hair blonde, which is nice, and the way everything comes together. They move locations because Emma actually is the one that ends up killing Siringo. I thought Siringo is a cool character. Of course, for action sequences, and he had a fairly solid actor playing him. Emma actually ends up taking an axe to him when he's trying to fight and kill Lizzie. And there was more action in the show. I was pretty impressed by that. We get some couple brutal moments and actually some decent action fight type sequences. So I was kind of happy with that. We even had this move by Lizzie against Mr. Flowers a little bit earlier on in the show. I know I'm jumping around quite a bit. I apologize. But when Lizzie wants to set up the way something looks, the way a murder goes down, she can, she shoots Mr. Flowers, and like this, almost like another motion, like within a second after that, she, cuts this girl's throat. Or if, she wants to set up Siringo, she, slits this other girl's throat and, plants this, decapitated head on the guy's bed in his room. It's just, Lily's a mad genius for sure. And the decapitated head, is actually tied to this, playwright who is related to this girl who ended up joining up with Siringo to try and get to Lizzie, but that ended in a little fight sequence where Lizzie ends up being stabbed, but she is able to toss this girl down the stairs, and she gets her head impaled. So that was awesome. Again, I know I'm jumping around quite a bit. I would like to talk about things a little more in depth, but again, it's just with my work schedule, I just want to get videos out a little bit sooner than I have been lately. I'm also going to be reviewing Batman Begins, to sort of bring more Batman focus on my channel. But anyway, so because of the little Siringo thing that goes down there with Emma and such, they move locations. She takes on the alias Mrs. Grimkey, and she ends up feuding with the Trotwood family, which I like the intensity and build up of that. Michelle Fairley plays a really sort of badass patriarch crime boss type of lady, which I thought was really cool. And once they kill Siringo, they end up having these two other agents tracking them, both of them, but especially Lizzie. One of them was an actor on True Blood. I only know that because I watched True Blood season 1. I don't really plan on watching more of that. But, so Lizzie still ends up having these two other Pinkerton agents pursuing her, and this culminates because Lizzie ends up getting them mixed up with the Trotwood family, and they end up having this really intense shootout and sort of, like I said, action sequences, which was actually pretty intense for the finale. Most of them end up getting killed. Michelle Fairley's character stays alive. I wish we would have gotten more of a final thing with her. But it was really well done, and, you know, we get a good focus on Lizzie's psyche in the show, you know. Of course we did in the movie as well, but it's rare when we see a more like sympathetic side of Lizzie directly. Of course, no matter what she does, we like her, you know, we root for her. She's why we're watching the show. But you know, we sort of get more focused, especially towards the end of her like attachment to Emma, how she's very much almost childlike, the way she clings to her and just cannot let her go. And Emma seems to embrace her towards the end of the show. You know, they seem to bond a little more again, which is actually kind of touching. And you know, Lizzie sleeps for the night, and you know, next day, you know, the ship's sailing away, and Lizzie's still on it, and Emma got off, and that's where the series actually ends. You know, Lizzie, you know, crying and shedding a tear as Emma finally chose to abandon her again, which is an interesting choice for an ending. Although it was considered a limited series, but that means they had the option to actually give it another season had the network wanted it. And, you know, I have mixed feelings about it. You know, I did like the final episode. It was really good. But, you know, I would have loved to have seen more of Lizzie Borden. But, unfortunately, it didn't do overly well in the ratings, unfortunately. But, you know, I was happy with what they did with the amount of time they had. I just wish I would have seen more. You know, I feel like there was definitely more after I would like to have seen it done. Yeah, I just really enjoyed the show. You know, like I said, Christina Ricci gives a great central performance. You know, very good at portraying the different sides of Lizzie. You know, Clea DuVall as Emma. You know, the guy who played Siringo, Jonathan Banks, Michelle Fairley, the whole cast in general, even from Trotwood to some of the, you know, the thugs and stuff, all really well played. Lizzie Borden Chronicles is a very good show. I recommend watching it. Watch the movie first, though. Lizzie Borden Took an axe, then watch this. It's a lot of fun. I liked it quite a bit. I can honestly say I almost loved it. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this if you watched it. And yeah, so I know there's probably plenty of things I didn't talk about in the video. So if there's anything I didn't mention that you want to hear my thoughts on, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to talk about more with you guys. And yeah, at this point I'm not going to fall asleep until 2:30, and then pretty much just like 3 hours. Oh god, I'm screwed. But I do have a few days off after this, and my girlfriend and I's 2-year anniversary is coming up on Thursday, so that'll be nice. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. Lizzie Borden, really awesome. Would love to see more of her, but I was really happy with the way the show went in the end overall. And yeah, so catch you guys next time. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and lookransploited.com. Like, subscribe, and peace.